Welcome back to our podcast, guys. It's Bella,
Jazzy,
Ashley,
Jayla,
and Melanie.
This week on the Fab Five, we will be discussing a conflict submitted by one of our listeners. It's honestly pretty cool. One of you guys sent an anonymous story that you would like us to break down today involving a coworker and your boss. Here's a message we received.
Hey Fab Five, I really enjoyed your podcast and I want to share a conflict that I witnessed in my personal life. As I do not know whose side to be on, I work at a popular retail chain and my friend Emma and our manager Josh are arguing. We had an all-team meeting last week to discuss new marketing strategies, specifically our new season window display, and Emma had some really cool ideas for it.
She presented a summer campaign geared towards college students, and it involved a lot of bright colors and fun products. She's really fashionable herself and passionate about aesthetics. The team was really receptive to her ideas, but Josh completely cut her off and shut her down.
he claimed he was concerned about the lack of advertising for high-demand products, potential waste of resources, and the lack of profit. Josh cares a lot, and I don't think I've ever seen him take a day off. He definitely has the most experience in running this business, but he came across as really dismissive.
Now work has become awkward, and Josh and Emma either don't talk at all or just make passive-aggressive conversation. The whole team just gossips about the situation, and everybody is taking sides. Although Josh is a store manager, Emma is dedicated to working her way up and is trying really hard to come up with new ideas and sales strategies. She's easily one of the most well-liked people on our team, and I can see where they're both coming from. I know Emma wants to prove herself and Josh just wants his business to be successful, but their fighting is making the rest of us miserable.
Wow, guys, that's pretty tough. I think that I want to use the Hurrier model to discuss this. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Okay. As far as like the hearing portion, I definitely think that when Emma was vocalizing her design plan, Josh was only hearing negatives rather than all of the really great positives. So he's really concerned obviously about making money, which makes sense. It's your business, but you know, it's a balance of also putting out really good products and interesting, new designs. It sounds to me like he's been doing this for a long time and really cares about his store, but maybe he's just kind of blinded by his concerns. I don't know. I think he might have gone to this discussion with a lot of bias. On the other hand, though, Emma sounds really young and probably pretty new to sales and marketing discussions, but that doesn't mean that what she said wasn't a good idea. Maybe it just needs a little bit of, tweaking. I feel like it's really possible that Josh came into the conversation lacking interest and then didn't give his full attention when listening to her plan. I think we all know that selective attention plays a huge role in how what we hear impacts our communication. Because if we tune into a conversation expecting to hear something we don't like, that is all that we're going to hear. What do you guys think?
I definitely think they both have very different perspectives on like what they want to do with the merchandise and the advertising. And so I feel like if you're like dead set in what you want to do or how you want to do it, you're not really going to listen to anyone else or what they think.
Yeah, definitely my way or the highway kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I feel like especially since Bella, I'm so sorry, I read your name. Since Emma. I'm not going to drag you into the conflict. But then, especially since Emma seems to be a lot younger than Josh and Josh? Yeah. And like, just what you said, that he kind of came into this proposal with the mindset that he didn't want to listen, like actually hear what she said, and that like he's older, has been in this business longer, and might have like different experience, but like maybe might not be as open to like the change that the younger generation brings in.
He might have that mindset like, I've been working here, I know what to do, what's going on, not opening up to other ideas.
Yeah,
as much.
I definitely agree. I think the kind of danger of that though when running a business is if you're unable to hear new perspectives or different opinions, then you're not going to reach different audiences either, so you kind of limit your business, and I don't know if he really sees that he's doing that.
I mean, yeah, I can definitely see where they're both coming from. I mean, they both were probably raised a lot differently and come from different backgrounds, and that definitely plays into their opinions about the situation. But again, they need to take the time to actually listen to each other.
Okay, so the next part of the hearing model is the understanding part, and I feel like we kind of like just that depending on your past experiences, they've already like stated that they are completely different ages and like had different experiences in life, and that they might understand and relate to some terms differently than someone else, and that Josh might not see the vision that Emma had with her proposal. Since the proposal is supposed to be like targeted college students, and she's pretty young, like she's in that area, like she's at that age, and that he might not like understand, because when he was a college student, that they had like different, like what's it called?
Completely different, like interests, different, like their cultural experiences were very different.
So like the words and symbols that are used, like Emma uses in her proposal, might have a different, like it has an outside, like a meaning outside of the universal setting, which means that every person's like, when Josh hears this, he has his own like filtering system about his past experiences, which makes it very difficult to take away his bias in this situation, which also like can impact that it makes it hard to understand what Emma is actually saying in this. What do you guys think about the situation, like the understanding?
I definitely think that you're right about, you know, when we come from a different background than somebody else, sometimes the things that we hear aren't what we understand it as, or like the message that somebody attempts to share with us isn't what we understood it to be. I think you're totally right. Like, it also says here in the original message that Emma's pretty young. Looks like 20 and Josh is in his mid 40s. So he's been far removed from being a college student, and she is probably still in that setting, and therefore they don't have the same feelings about the same things.
Yeah, because I think that he's probably stuck in the egocentric understanding that his energy is focused inwards, and that he processes this information and makes connections to like his own ideas and his own like personal associations.
From our understanding, both parties have good points. It sounds like they really just need to work together to compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like why each person thinks something is a good idea
Yeah.
as well. Because nothing might be a bad idea, it's just they need to compromise.
Yeah.
I think also due to like age, there might just be certain things that they also personally like that they might also kind of put into the workplace. So I feel like, you know, she's more about being more vibrant and he's more like just getting stuff out there. So I feel like because of that, and maybe due to age, it might be really hard for them to kind of like come eye to eye, especially if maybe like he doesn't necessarily see her as like an equal, like he's over her or he's at the higher occupation than she is.
Yeah, because I feel like in this situation, it's like important for both of them to maybe like sit down and talk, and maybe for him to remember how it was for like when he was that age, how he like to understand where she comes from, and then also just like understand that like their age different, because I feel like that's like a very important thing, that he's older and might have the mindset that he knows better than she does and doesn't like understand that like her potential, like just her vision.
Yeah.
Sure.
I also think that it's potentially just because of the fact that he's been doing this so long that he is less willing to risk than she is. So she's more willing to try things that are new and that could not necessarily be the most profitable, just to see what works, whereas he needs to know something works in order to put effort into it.
Yeah. But then again, another pro is he's been working there longer, so like he might know, like
What
already
works and what doesn't.
already have knowledge about what's gonna
Exactly.
happen and not.
Yeah, I think that's like just where the compromise comes in, to kind of for Josh to be open-minded to her vision, but also for her to understand that he does have more experience and still like knows what has been successful and what hasn't been successful.
The remembering from the hearing model, what I remember clearly from the story is that Emma brought in a really creative idea, and the whole team seemed really excited about it. But then I also remember that Josh didn't shut her down just to be dismissive. He was concerned about the profit and product focus and the potential for wasted resources. And I mean, as someone like that was there older, has been there for a minute longer, I would probably like be, what's the word I would say? Concerned too, as well, for the profit and product focus. But keeping both of these perspectives in mind helps me understand that this wasn't just a case of a boss ignoring an employee. It's just two people who care about the success of the store and just approaching it differently. So remembering those key parts of this interaction helps us see beyond the surface conflict and really understand why it's happening. What do you guys think?
I think it's clear that Josh has more of like a professional, like business point of view to this. And like obviously Emma cares about the store's success too, but she's kind of trying to bring fun into it. And I don't know. I don't know.
No, I know what you mean. They're both necessary. They're both necessary parts of running a business, especially when, from the sounds of it, you know, it's a team, right? Mm-hmm. So like being willing to hear out each other, hear out new perspectives, do different things is vital to working on a team.
Yeah.
So without that, without being able to remember, you know, why you're all there and that you have a common goal, a lot of these miscommunications, as it were, or misunderstandings happen.
Yeah.
I can honestly say I do really like agree on his part though, like why he would be that way. Because if you have been there longer than someone, and let's just say maybe something like that did happen before, where there was someone used that kind of thing that she's using, right, like the vibrant colors and all that, and it didn't actually work. Like I would understand why he wouldn't, you know, want to try that or let her do that. And I want to say it's not that like he's just, it's like it's on her, like he's like personally doesn't like her or anything like that. I think it's more just like just what she's trying to do is that what he does not like. But I feel like definitely if she's like a bit new there, you know, younger, that like you should at least understand like what stage of life that she's in at that moment, why she may think that kind of thing would work. I think just considering like her like feelings and stuff like that, and not just completely being like utterly dismissive, like at least trying to talk it out. But if you're just going to like just throw it to the side like it's whatever, then you're not really allowing other people's ideas to, you know, flourish in the workspace.
I agree. I think that's probably honestly the biggest problem with this conflict is simply just sounds like he has a lot of knowledge, but rather than bringing that knowledge to the table and maybe trying to make it like a mentoring moment or working with Emma, Josh instead just shut her down and didn't even give her an opportunity. And I do think that's the real, you know, tragedy there is just they could work on something together. He doesn't necessarily even have to go with her idea. He just, you know, sometimes just being heard out is all that you really need to feel validated, you know?
You know, to have like a base idea and kind of discuss like after that.
Exactly.
So like we're gonna talk about that more like later, but like how you just like the response to it, that he like seemed to be very from the letter we got, just like not disrespectful, but like as you said, like he could have turned it into like a teaching moment for her instead of making her feel bad about her idea, and then just kind of like develop her idea more like to use his experience and his knowledge.
The next section of the Hurrier model that we're looking at is interpreting. This is going to be a really important step for Emma and Josh. I think it's going to be one of the main steps to get them to hopefully a conclusion. First off, I think it's important for both participants to attempt to understand the meaning behind each other's words, which obviously they probably already considered, but in order to come to an agreement, they need to take the best steps to be able to understand. So this can be starting with considering their emotional tone behind their words and considering the speaker's intent. So Emma first off needs to consider Josh's perspective and feelings as well as his background and kind of how that plays into the message he's trying to communicate. And same thing with Josh. He also needs to consider Emma's feelings and kind of her background and why she feels the way she does about the situation and why she's reacting the way she is. This will, in the end, allow both sides to hopefully accurately interpret the meaning and intent behind each other's words and they need to take these steps to get there.
I definitely think in situations like this, communication is definitely key, because without it, it'll just make things very awkward. And kind of like the person that sent this story in today, like it's making everyone else miserable, and it's making it a very like hard place to want to be in when they're going like head to head with each other on this kind of thing.
Yeah, everyone like interpret things differently, and I feel like in this situation that maybe Josh can like ask Emma like what she meant in her presentation. If it was something that he didn't like, just like ask what she was thinking with that, like with the colors, like why do you think these colors would like grab attention, like why would this be successful for us? Because like they, again, like the age difference is a big, like it's a huge deal, and like it's gonna make them interpret things differently. So maybe like in this situation, just ask and like clarify what it is that she means, and then work from that.
Agreed. I think, a big problem with their miscommunication is the lack of attempting to understand the other side. Mm-hmm. And when you aren't interested in hearing out another person, it makes it very hard to interpret the message objectively. So you're going to hear, something you don't like. It's that speaker bias wherein you can like the person, and that means you like their message, but if you don't like that person, you're gonna lean towards not liking their message automatically. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And then the next part of the Hurry Up model before the last is evaluating. And like I said before, I definitely understand where Josh is coming from and why he may feel like he knows more than she does, and that he's been there longer, and that he's very dead set in his choice and like how he's acting towards her, although I think it is still kind of wrong. It can definitely come across kind of like rude if he's just like dismissing what she wants to do. And I feel like because he's definitely, all about the business world and stuff like that. And I know that she's probably a lot younger and she wants to do things that are tailored to like a certain group of people. I guess I can understand definitely in marketing, you want to try and make sure that it tailors to more than one group of people. I can see why he might want it to be like a certain way, so that everyone looks at it and like wants to get whatever it may be, rather than like she wants to tailor it more just college students. So I can see why that might be creating like this big conflict, and I can just understand like why he may think he may know more than she does. And also I think like that saying that people say, like the older you are the wiser, like you might think you just know more, you're more knowledgeable than a younger person, because like I said, you've been there before, you know how everything works. But I think it's still wrong to dismiss it, and I think it can definitely cause tension between coworkers in this kind of environment. And I think at least communicating why you may feel the way you do will at least like show the other person, like, I understand like how you feel, why you want to do this thing, and not just completely dismiss it. And so I think this is definitely going to take a lot for them to actually put the effort into figuring this kind of thing out and evaluating, where they're coming from and why they feel the way they do, and not just becoming avoidant to each other and other people's ideas. And what do you guys want to say about that?
I think if they did end up solving this and coming together, maybe like meeting in the middle, they could come up with something like really, really great. So I just think they need to consider listening to each other, hearing each other out, and again, meeting in the middle.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think they both just kind of need to like identify like their like personal biases against each other and kind of put their own, because obviously they're not a fan of each other right now.
No.
I feel like they really need to put that like aside and like put the company above that, because that's like they do have the same goal. So like just kind of put the biases for each other aside and try to like compromise and see that both of them do have good points, like they do have like good ideas and work together.
I agree. If they could both evaluate, their different viewpoints and their different messages, I think that they would actually find that they have a lot of common ground that they're just looking over at the moment.
Yeah. You guys basically said it. Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the kind of the final part of the Hurrier model. I think we all probably have some stuff we like to add to that, and it's going to be responding. So honestly, what do you guys think? Like, if you could think of one way that they could respond to each other differently, or how we could, like, what they could do to fix this conflict and come back together, how do you think that they should go about doing that?
I feel like the biggest thing, if like they are in a room like giving proposals again, that instead of just like shutting someone's idea down and just like come with the negative parts, just like kind of validate that person, like, yeah, you had like, this is a good idea, this is a good start, and then give your viewpoints on that, and like see, just like kind of try to get something, because like it's a proposal, it's like an idea that someone had. So that's, yeah, just like respond with like, yeah, you have a good idea, this is what I think, instead of just like completely shutting someone down, and like actually validate that person.
Yeah, I definitely think in situations like that, if it's like it's just not going to work, that they won't come together and communicate, I definitely think you should definitely like get like management involved, and like have someone to be like the middle guy between two of those people, because if they're not going to talk themselves and just keep like being very avoidant towards each other, I feel like there has to be someone that's able to come between them and like listen to both sides and like kind of like make a solution from there. And I think if you have someone like helping or making them talk to each other, at least, or trying to get them to like talk to each other, I think they'll definitely come to a point where they're actually able to listen and like understand a lot better like why they want what they want, and it won't be so hard for other people in the workplace to feel like they work on eggshells and stuff like that around them, and not trying to make anyone matter, just becoming a very miserable and awkward place for other people. And so definitely wanting to I think that would definitely help if they're like refusing to talk to each other.
I agree. I think to get to that point, getting like the whole team involved would also kind of help the situation. Hopefully, after getting the team involved, they can get both Emma and Josh to agree to like talk it out and come to a compromise. And then maybe once they come to a compromise, if they're still kind of struggling to come to a final decision, they could get the team to vote on it. And then, yeah.
Did you guys say trial run?
Not yet.
Oh,
No.
okay. Well, because I was confused if we were skipping around it. Yeah, I think they could possibly have a test run, because, I mean, I feel like it's good so because you would know like if it's gonna go bad or if it's going good, and if going based off that, you won't have to do it anymore, or like see like for on a less busy day, which would allow people to gauge customers' reactions without poor performance during like their peak times.
Right.
So I honestly feel like a trial run would be better, so then like whatever the display that's like around the time they wanted to have, they could see like how it would go.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really smart. That's a
Yeah.
really easy way to remove the argument from two parties, and instead just, okay, we'll give it to the people, either the team or our, customer base itself, and see what they like. And then there's no need to fight anymore, essentially. But beyond that, I think, even if it doesn't even necessarily have to be management, just even like you, listener, whoever sent this in, going up and like kind of helping mediate and say like, I think this was a really great idea, but maybe this is what, the other person was thinking. And sometimes that's all it really takes, is just to get two parties who are in conflict to start seeing the other person's side. And sometimes it resolves itself, which is kind of, it feels really stressful and kind of difficult, but always worth it in the end. I think, honestly, because I figuring out where Josh is coming from, my mind is leaning towards maybe he's even thinking, because he's a profit guy, right? College students aren't traditionally known for having a lot of excess wealth to spend. So maybe he's just simply concerned this audience is not a profitable audience. But the idea that she has, I still think people that aren't just, young college students would love a vibrant, display of new products, something fun and exciting. So I think that they could totally compromise, maybe keep a lot of the original design elements, but geared toward a different audience, and then they would be set.
Yeah. I feel like it's also important to work on like not only in this conversation and like in this situation, but like in workplace, like in general, because in the letter I got sent and said that they like had like passive aggressive conversation and stuff, and I feel like it's very important to work on like the non-verbal parts of the conversation, especially like in a meeting room, like when people talk to each other, that it's very easy to like either have like a certain tone that's like very negative, like harsher, or like just like make face expressions, like just like roll their eyes or whatever, and just like kind of try to be more respectful towards like the other person, like just like at the workplace in general to kind of avoid these kind of situation.
I agree. I think in the workplace, it's really important to, to make that good eye contact, to have that clear tone, to kind of remove, a lot of the sort of expressions or, body language that comes across as negative, whether that's, crossing your arms or rolling your eyes, like you said. Like, it's just not very productive. And I think, they're all adults, it sounds like to me, and they should be able to respect each other and show that respect both verbally and non-verbally.
Yeah, or like just always remember that they're working towards the same goal. They just have like different ideas on how to get there.
Exactly. Well, any other thoughts, guys?
No, I think that about covers most of it.
Yeah, I think we covered pretty much it.
Well, thank you to whoever sent that in, and if you guys ever want to send anything else in, please do. We really love hearing from you guys. This is the Fab Five signing off. It's Bella,
Jazzy.
Ashley.
And Melanie.
and we hope you guys have a great week.